Mike Coppinger, who now works for Ring Magazine, he was working for ESPN for the longest time, put this article out on the Ring Magazine website. And as you can see from the headline, Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois rematch being finalized for July 12 at Wembley. Oleksandr Usyk and Daniel Dubois are in the process of finalizing a deal for a Ring Magazine and Undisputed Heavyweight Championship rematch July 12th at London's Wembley Stadium, sources told The Ring. Now, Frank Warren did this interview. I'm not sure how many of you guys have seen it. Umar, who works for Box Nation, asked Frank Warren about this news that's coming out regarding Oleksandr Usyk, Daniel Dubois 2, July 12, Wembley Stadium. And Frank Warren seemed maybe a little annoyed because he actually said that shouldn't have come out. I can't confirm anything yet. Nothing's been signed, etc., etc. And that shouldn't have come out. The reason why I find this interesting is because the Ring Magazine, of course, is owned by Turki Al-Sheikh. So why would Frank Warren turn around and say that the news shouldn't have come out when it's come out of Turki Al-Sheikh's outlet? Is Turki Al-Sheikh even involved with this fight? I don't know. I'm asking it as a question because this Usyk-Dubois rematch has taken, some people would say, an unusually long time to actually get over the line. Normally when it's Riyadh season cards, Ring Magazine cards, the fights get made very quickly. But this fight seems to have been in negotiations for a very long time. It's almost like the old days, right? And so I'm wondering whether Turkey's actually not involved. Daniel Dubois, for example, when he pulled out of the Joseph Parker fight, he eventually did some interviews. And he said he wanted the fight to be in the UK. He seemed averse. He seemed against fighting in Saudi again. Is he paranoid about getting ill or whatever the case may be? I'm not sure. But obviously we've got Turki Al-Sheikh now working with Dana White on this new TKO boxing league, whatever they're going to call it. And we're already seeing Turki Al-Sheikh tighten the purse strings for certain fighters. We've seen Shakur Stevenson, for example, come out and express his dissatisfaction over the fact that he was initially offered a certain amount of money by Turki Al-Sheikh to fight Zepeda, but that money was then walked back and he's being offered significantly less. But anyway, I think it's quite clear that the purse strings are being tightened now. And that tends to happen with every new boxing outfit that emerges on the market that tries to get a foothold in the market. They spend an awful lot of money right out the gate. They overpay fighters, they lose enormous amounts of money on shows, etc., etc. And so perhaps we're at the stage now where the Saudis, just like Eddie Hearn when he first started off with DAZN, just like Al Heyman way back in the days, are, as I say, starting to rein in those purses a little bit. And potentially, because of Turki Al-Sheikh's venture with Dana White, maybe we're going to see Frank Warren and Eddie Hearn start doing more big shows, right? Because their smaller shows, in many instances, don't have much Saudi involvement, if any. But maybe we're going to go back to seeing them do big shows without Saudi involvement again. Is this, or will this be, the Daniel Dubois, Oleksandr Usyk rematch, an example of a big show which will not have Saudi involvement? Again, I'm just asking it as a question. I don't have any inside knowledge. I'm just wondering, based upon some of the things that Frank Warren has said, this information being quote-unquote leaked from Ring Magazine, which is owned by Turki Al-Sheikh. What say you? What do you guys think? Will the Saudis be involved? Will Turkey be involved with this fight or not? Now, obviously, if Turkey's not involved, you would assume that both fighters are going to get significantly less money than if Turkey was involved. I've just spoken about them reining in the purses and whatnot, but bear in mind, Oleksandr Usyk in particular has got a great relationship with the Saudis and whatnot, having fought in Saudi Arabia several times, obviously beat Anthony Joshua in the rematch and fought Tyson Fury a couple of times in Saudi Arabia, etc. He's used to a certain amount of money. The Dubois fight, obviously, is not going to pay him anywhere near as much as either of the Fury fights, I wouldn't have thought. So he's going to, I have to imagine, be willing to accept far less money than he made for those fights. But how much less is he willing to accept? He might be thinking, well, this fight's going to be at Wembley and there's going to be loads of British fans there, etc., etc. Would Usyk accept, I don't know, 15 million for this fight, 20 million? You know, it's a unification, obviously. Who's going to put up the money? Will it be DAZN putting up the money rather than the Saudis? Will it be a combination? Will it be a little bit of Saudi involvement, but then DAZN stumping up a lot of money and then trying to obviously recoup on pay-per-view? I'm not sure, but The reason I raised this is because, yes, it was interesting to see Frank Warren say he was basically infer he was annoyed that the Ring magazine had put this story out. He said it shouldn't have come out, that info, it shouldn't have come out. And also what that means, at least to me, my reading of it, is that the information is accurate. Do you know what I mean? If Frank Warren's unhappy with the info going out and he's saying it shouldn't have gone out, then yeah, I tend to suspect that we will be seeing this rematch on July 12th at Wembley Stadium. And before I go, make sure you check out my most recent bit of exclusive boxing content on Patreon. It's a 3-hour film study on George Foreman. That's 3 hours of me analyzing video footage, not still images, actual video footage of the most significant fights in George Foreman's career and explaining and breaking down what made him so effective. It wasn't just brute force and physical strength and punching power. No. Foreman had a much better boxing brain and was much more crafty and clever, even when he was young, than people realize or give him credit for. And I break it all down in a 3-hour George Foreman extravaganza on my Patreon page. If you want to access that video and many other boxing film studies I've done, as well as countless podcasts and what have you, just head on over to my Patreon page, which is called The Brotherhood of Reason, and select the tier called The Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, there's no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, and it's very reasonably priced. If you just want to sign up for 1 month and then check out, that's absolutely fine. So yeah, don't miss out on my George Foreman film study. You can access that and my entire back catalog for a very cheap price. It's great value. All of the links are in the description below. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Make sure you guys like this video, share it, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. I'll catch you on the next one. I'm out. If you want to access this video along with hundreds of hours worth of other exclusive boxing content, as well as our members chat, just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called The Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store. All the links are in the description box below. And just a quick money-saving tip for Apple users. If you purchase your Patreon subscription on the desktop site or on Android, then you'll avoid the ridiculous 30% fee that Apple charges for purchases made on the iOS app. So if you're on iPhone or iPad, save yourself some money by buying your subscription on the actual Patreon website or on Android, because it's a lot cheaper. Once you've made that initial purchase, you can then use the Patreon app on your iPhone or iPad thereafter to access and enjoy your content as normal.